Good evening, friends. This is time for the trade wrap for 15th of March 2021. Now let's start with the S&P 500. S&P 500 is kind of flattish at almost new highs. Nothing significant is happening here. Let's look at the US 10-year. The US 10-year bond yield is cooled off to about 1600. So that way, that appears okay. Now, on the Nifty, we have these levels drawn out, and let's see what we did today, because the market is fairly tricky. The market opened uh, and almost immediately started to go down. Now, as per part of our plan, we tried to buy the Nifty around this 14,950 zone, and that buying obviously failed. So then we went and we bought 35,000 puts on the bank Nifty, and there we made decent amounts of money. And finally, at lower levels, we again got back into the 14,900 calls. So finally, ended the day with about 2.8 lakh in profit. Overall, fairly tricky day, because the issue is that if you are not nimble, the market first went down 200 points, then came back 200 points. So that wasn't, you know, very easy to deal with. So before we move forward, let me request you to like, share, subscribe. Also, we have membership services on platinum, diamond, gold, copper, silver, etc. Various services under them. Go through the YouTube join button and get details. If you have questions, WhatsApp 98710 or email ashwani_gujral@yahoo.com, ashwani_gujral@yahoo.com, or you can straight away go to the join button, click there and choose the services that you want. Now for tomorrow, what we need to look for is that we need to divide the market into two halves. One is this half, which is at 14,950 to about 15,250, and the other one is from the zone of 14,750 to about 14,950. So I would think that you could be sideways for the day of tomorrow, because there is very clear FII selling. So at 14,950, 15,000, there is likely to be some sort of resistance, and I won't be surprised if the market gets back to the lower end of the range. Today's last hour rally, in my opinion, was a bit of short covering rally. So that way, I would not think that that shows great amount of market strength. So for tomorrow, we have the pivot at about 14,907, and R1 is about 15,066. So broadly, uh, this market could extend this rally to about 15,060 thereabouts, and then finally it could collapse back towards 14,770, etc. The downside may not be over. Similarly, Bank Nifty again, it appears that some amount of shorts may have been trapped, but again the Bank Nifty may be getting into a lower range where you know this range of 35,500 to about 34,500, this could be the operative range for the next few sessions. So somewhere here you could have this sort of a move even on Bank Nifty. Last 2 days have been extremely volatile, and I would not be surprised if uh, you have a market which is more quieter than before. The pivot on Bank Nifty is about 35,000. R1 is about 35,636. S1 is 34,579. So you have your R1, S1 given here. Basically, chasing has not held. So the idea should be to wait for the market to move on one side and then take the opposite side. We have broadly given you the benchmarks in terms of options. What is clear is that there isn't great amounts of call writing at strikes higher than 15,100. You have a bit of call writing at 15,100, 15,000, but nothing really above that. So the market may not be very short. At the same time, I don't see major put writing also, uh, other than at 14,800. So in terms of calls and puts, I think 15,000, 15,100 is resistance on the upside, and 14,800 is a support on the downside. But like last few weeks, we are not seeing massive call writing, because today was a kind of day when heavy call writing could have happened. Similarly, Bank Nifty 35,500 has heavy call writing, 36,000 has 36,000 contracts as cumulative open interest. I think Bank Nifty has much bigger uh, call writing. In terms of puts, 35,000 has 20,500 puts, 34,500 has about 23,000 puts as cumulative open interest. There is still, massive, huge amounts of call writing at 35,000. So that way, I think the pressure on the Bank Nifty should most likely remain. And now we should have 35,500 to about 34,500 as the range. But overall, as you can see, the markets are extremely volatile, and basically you have to mark out your zones and levels below 34,500. I think excursion down to 33,800, 34,000 is possible, but the market is tending to get back to its mean. So my thinking would be that you have this broad range of 14,600 to 15,300, and you could alternate between these two boundaries. So the market is going through its sort of time correction, and that is how you need to play this. That should be it. Take care, trade well, and please consult your financial advisor.